Hey everyone, happy Saturday. Hey, we discussed the other day a little bit, yesterday morning, about a frustration that I was having, and I threw this chart out here. I wanted to talk a little bit about it. Frustration with folks that have been in Scientology, folks that are still in Scientology, maybe the way some people that have processed trauma in their life, and just trying to build trust and trying to build a relationship. My theory are respect, relationship, and reliability equals results. And sometimes I feel that I'm 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and it's back and forth, back and forth. And so I bobbled this around in my head and I came up with some pictures and a chart, because to me sometimes that's easier to be able to discuss my feelings and discuss my fears and my frustrations, and maybe how we can come up to a solution. And maybe this is a frustration that you've had also, especially dealing with the anti-Scientology movement, the group non-group, the crowdsource, and trying to further along and progress rather than constantly being brought back forth. So let me paint this picture a little bit. I threw up this chart, and this is a natural way of thinking. This is the natural evolution of your brain in relationships. You have in the way you think in your own mind. It goes all the way from gullible to trust to verify. And when you're gullible, we all know what gullible is. You're gullible. Your mind accepts what other people say or do, and you just believe it is truth. Trust is where you completely trust somebody. And then on the other side of the spectrum is where you verify. And you're always looking at, well, this may or may not be right. But you always have to verify because nothing ever seems to be the truth. Well, in reality, as I said, that's a natural flow. Sometimes I go from gullible to trust to verify in a single conversation. That's normal. That's completely natural. There's nothing wrong with that. And it really depends on the reaction, the relationship, and the respect that you have for whomever you're talking to or about, or the group that you're talking with or about. And so this is a natural evolution of your brain and your thoughts and your body, mind, and spirit. Let's talk about your body. So this is the evolution of your body in homeostasis. It's where your body's just going along, chugging along, doing what it's supposed to do. No ups, no downs. This is the normal evolution of homeostasis. It's where your body is just kind of normal. No stress, no distress, just natural, right? It's just a natural thing. Mind, that's where your mind goes. Your mind isn't stressed, it isn't anxious, there's no anxiety, there's no lethargy. It's just normal, it's natural. This is the way in spirit we were designed. We were designed for this. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. So body and mind, I am not a PhD. I am not at that level. Spiritually, I'm probably equivalent to a PhD in spirituality. I'll admit that. So that I have credence about, but the other two, I'm just telling you what I've learned through experience as an old wise fat granny. This is how the body, mind, and spirit works in homeostasis in a natural level. Now you say, well, not everybody does all of that. Let's go to the next slide. In the next slide, we see that most of the population are in those shaded areas. Not quite gullible, not quite trusting, not quite jaded. We're in the trust but verify levels, to where give me enough information for me to figure it out, and I'm going to trust, but then I'm going to verify, and we're going to work on this. And so you use your logical thinking in order to survive in life, and that is very natural. Now you see they have the little blue lines there on the bottom. Those are when your body, mind, and spirit may go past gullible or past verify. Think of it this way. When you're looking at somebody that's in love, they've got the starstruck, everything's beautiful, everything roses, you have rose-colored glasses on, nobody can do anything wrong. You're at a point past gullible. And that's hormonal. It truly is, but it's usually temporary. That's temporary, and it's normal that you dip down past the gullible stage, but then life shakes you up and you come back to the gullible to verify section. That's natural. And on the other side of it, you may have had a trauma. You may have had something awful happen to you. You may have had a breakup of the love of your life, to where you go past verify and nobody can do anything right, anything wrong. You're just in extreme distrust. But that's temporary. And that's where your fight or flight kicks in. Those temporary times, your fight or flight kicks in, but then you should go back to homeostasis, back up to gullible to verify. You should go back up to natural. Problem being, and I know Jamie Mustard was talking about this with those DSR shots, that those DSR shots helps the body and the mind bring you back up to homeostasis. It brings you back up to normal in the body and mind. In the spiritual, though, we need to look at that. And I'm going to show you here in just a second where those shots don't necessarily help the spiritual. They do help the body and the mind, and that's a plus. And as long as your body and mind is up there, back to natural and back to homeostasis, then you can bring your spiritual back to it also. Let me show you why. Let's go to the next stage. So this is a person, if you can see down below here, Scientology. Scientology is a dichotomy. Ubiquitous. It's a dichotomy. It's two in one stream. So you have extreme acceptance and extreme distrust. And people that are in Scientology, that have been in Scientology, that were trained in Scientology, all go through this. They have extreme circular logic. They're trained in circular logic. They're trained to be able to discuss things that there is a never-ending result to it. It's a dichotomy. They're trained to believe everything about Scientology. Nothing is wrong from Scientology. You are above everyone else in the world. Your superiors, you're supposed to believe everything they say. All their training, all their guidance, everything, you're trained to believe. Scientology is the answer to everything. Scientology works. And on the other side, you're trained to believe nothing. No one, no place, nothing is right. If something goes wrong, it's your fault. You're trained not even to believe yourself or your own instincts. You're not trained to believe your fellow coworkers or your friends. You're supposed to write knowledge reports. You're not supposed to believe anything. That is the basis of Scientology. Believe everything and believe nothing. There's such a huge dichotomy that you're stuck. You're trained at that unnatural level. You're trained to be stuck on extreme acceptance and extreme distrust. And when you're stuck there, that's where your body, mind, and spirit need some help to get back up to natural. You're also taught in Scientology that all of this up here, let me use my pointer, all of this up here, the gullible to verify, which is completely natural, you are trained as a Scientologist that that is unnatural. And this is natural. Unnatural and natural, completely opposite 180 degrees of what is in fact true. What is true that this is natural and this is unnatural. The other thing that's trained in Scientology is they change the name of natural and unnatural, normal, abnormal, to right and wrong. So they give this a consequence. This, which is, they say, unnatural, having feelings for yourself, being able to adjust your feelings, being able to pivot, all of that is unnatural and it's wrong. So it gives a consequence, because if you're not right, you're wrong. And so they've flipped the script of everything that you're supposed to be believing in. So how do we get, here's my frustration. How do we get, that's why sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words, because sometimes I can't get the words out right, but I know what I'm feeling and I know what I'm saying. And how do I, as a person that this upper level, the gullible to verify, is completely natural to me. And as I said, sometimes gullible to verify comes in one conversation with one person. That's natural, that's normal, that's acceptable. But being down here and stuck on high alert, being stuck at these levels is just not natural. This is not wrong. How do I get those that are stuck down here to continue more up here? To be up here, to trust, to be gullible, to verify when you need to, and be like a normal, standard, natural population, being in this trust to verify sections. It's a conversation I'd like to start and have. Others have posed the same question in the last couple of days, exactly what I'm saying, but in other ways. And here's just a good picture view for all of us spreadsheet folks that just need it in front of us. How do we get this to where this becomes the natural, the gullible to the verify, in natural thinking? How do we get that? And how do we build that relationship with those that more and more, I'm going to use Nora for an example here. Nora has just been awesome lately about staying up in that upper range. But every once in a while, something either pisses her off, scares her, or makes her giddy to where she falls back down into this extreme acceptance and extreme distrust level. And I think through her counseling and through the shots and through having friends that truly love her and a wife that truly loves her, that she can bring herself back up into this gullible trust to verify level. And she can see that it's not right or wrong. I think that's the spiritual part of it, is the DSR shots and the mental therapy can help bring you back up there, but the spiritual part of it needs to also come up. So that's where we're at, and I would love some feedback. Thank you.